Quick snap! In this quick snap, I'm going to cover the hardest thing I think about coaching defensive line and that is getting your defensive linemen good at recognizing the block in front of them. Our four-man double or trap drill is a competitive drill designed to teach that defensive lineman to recognize, all right, the guy I am striking is blocking me, and now I got outside pressure. That's a double team. I need to stay in my gap. I need to flip my hips. I need to maintain that gap. Or the guy that I'm going to strike is releasing down inside. I need to keep hands on him. I need to close down space and squeeze all the air out of it to take on the next threat inside, whether that's a dive or a trap. And that's what our four-man trap or double team drill does. Our four-man trap or double drill is a competitive 3-on-1 group drill that refines the fundamentals of line play by both the offensive and defensive players. Offensive linemen skills that are reinforced are their position steps, their hand placement, their double team, whether they're the post or the lead blocker, their release to linebackers, whether it's a veer or inside release or an arc outside release, and their trap blocking. Defensive lineman skills reinforced in the drill are their step and strike, their key read and block recognition. Is it a veer or a trap, an inside release, or is it a reach, which is a double team? And then their corresponding reactions, whether that's squeeze that down block, that inside release and spill the next threat, or stretch that double team and stay in the gap, flip your hips, and destroy the block, work through and get vertical penetration upfield. Our double team situation, the offensive linemen are trying to get hip to hip. They're trying to knock the defensive lineman back out of his grid box. The offensive lineman win if he knocks that defensive lineman off the ball and out of the gap, which again is represented by the grid box you'll see on the film here real shortly. The defensive lineman wins if he splits the double team or if he stays in that gap, which again is the grid box. And I'll just whistle the drill dead if I feel like he's maintained that gap long enough. On the trap, the offense wins if they get a clean or almost clean release, and then the guard gets the kick out on the defensive lineman. If the defensive lineman crosses that guard's face and spills the ball, it's the defense that wins. Real quick before I start the clips here, each grid box is 2.5 yards by 2.5 yards. The trash can right behind the two offensive lineman guys here is representing a ball carrier trying to run to that gap on like a power or counter, maybe even an ISO if they're trying to get a double team at a point of attack there. And then the inside trash can is representing the fullback on a trap that kind of bends back. This guy is either pulling or he doesn't have an assignment when we go with our double team. The offense, when we do this competitively for Gatorades, the offense gets to pick, are they double teaming or are they trapping? And they get 2 reps against the defensive guy. Double team by the offense, they're knocking the defensive lineman back. His pad level's too high, offensive win. So they come back. Offense chooses double team again. Real good job getting hip to hip. On offense, pad level's underneath the defensive lineman's pad level. Defensive lineman standing straight up. Offensive win again. Defensive line's getting off the ball nice and low. And lots of coaches are always yelling about pad level. Well, if I don't get a strike on the inside offensive lineman, I'm not going to feel him releasing inside. I'm not going to redirect. And right now, if a team's running either trap, which is what we're simulating here, or midline, the dive on midline or the trap by the fullback is hitting for a solid gain, as both offensive linemen are up to linebacker level, and the trap, we're really fortunate we're good teammates to each other because he'd get rolled over if that was a more live play. Offense comes back and says, I don't know what they say. It's kind of a double team. It's kind of a trap. It's not a clear rep. So by default, Just like on the last one, offense kind of won because defense lost the rep. Here, offense lost the rep and gives this one to defense because that's neither. It's not a double team. It's not a trap. Defensive lineman gets stood up. He came off the ball nice and low, but then his reaction's upwards, so he's getting moved back, and he's out of the grid box. That's an offensive win. So here we go, second rep. Does a nice job coming off the ball, but right now the foot stepped out of the box. He's not really in his gap. The running back on a power again or like a counter, with that double team getting turned out like that, if that running back's decent at all, he's going to be able to bend back and it hit a cutback lane. And now we're not letting our linebackers fit it in a predictable way. They might outnumber us with that cutback, so that was an offensive win. This one, the offensive guy gets in there. Again, we're nice teammate. Like, this is one of those situations where a team that runs trap doesn't even need to trap that guy. He trapped himself. That's an offensive win. Again, that's more the defense losing it than the offense winning it. Right here, they're bigger and stronger than that guy. His pad level's up just a little bit. They slowed him down with trap the previous play. Here we go. And the guys, eventually they get used to the idea, hey, if I peek over here, if he's not in a stance, I know what's coming. So they get good at playing the game, so to speak. Offensive line's hip to hip. But for some reason, the inside offensive lineman just tries to overtake this, reach this. I'm giving this to the offense, just barely. Because that defensive lineman, he's not staying in his gap. He's getting washed to the gap inside the other offensive lineman. And I'd argue his foot stepped out on the other side. He came close to maintaining his gap. If he flipped his hips right now into the other offensive lineman, he'd probably be able to create a vertical seam here and maintain that gap. Now he's got it. And it might have been a miscommunication on the part of the offense. But he's got the double team split. Again, it looks like this offensive lineman is kind of releasing. But they definitely didn't get hip to hip or drive him out. And the fact that the teammate's not pulling to trap, that's an offensive loss, defensive win all day. You could see the traps coming. And I'm going to give this to the offense, even though that's not a perfectly clean release. Ultimately, if we're upfield like this off an inside release, there's no strike on that inside offensive lineman. Trap or midline is again going huge. They're going to hit an inside run lane. Here's the double team. Great job splitting it. I'd like him flipping his hips the other way, but he ends up creating a crease. Pretty good job by Jermaine. Gets upfield, stays in his gap, split the double, makes a play. Defensive win. Billy against the double team. And right now, I'm giving that to the defense. Did he completely dominate the offense? Nope. Did he do everything in his power to stay in the gap? Absolutely. And this is from a few years ago and whatnot, so I'm not coaching him to flip his hips into the outside of the double team. Take it back one more time so you can see what I'm talking about. Right now, if instead of working through the inside defender, if he continues to push on that inside defender with his upper body, but use his butt to box out and flip his hips into that outside of the double team, he'd probably be able to create a vertical crease and instead of maintaining in his gap, split that double team completely and be able to make a play and a tackle himself. But that is a defensive win, in my opinion. He's keeping his linebackers clean. The gap's not expanding at all. Pretty good play by Billy. So now the offense tries to get him with a trap. He squeezes down. He's hitting that trapper with low pad level with his inside shoulder. Real good clip. And continuing inside to where the fullback would be on a trap path. And has a little giddy up at the end of the play. Let it play through here. Squeeze down. Spill it. Keep working inside. Fun stuff. Trap. Close. Close by the defense. Offense wins because the guard has the kick out here. So Rick's squeezing down. He sees the guard coming. He's got two problems. Number one, his pad level. Actually, I think that's Taylor. His pad level is a little too high. And he's upfield too far. Now here comes the double team. And his pad level's too high. He just gives up too much chest. That is the offensive win. So there you go, the double or trap drill, double team. Defense is trying to stay in that gap. Offense is trying to get hip to hip, knock them back, get them knocked off the ball. Or on the trap, the offense is trying to get that kick out, get clean releases, while the defense is trying to cross the face of that kick out by the guard and get inside. Thanks for checking out this quick snap on Coaching Football with Brian Klee. Please follow me on Twitter at Coach Klee. Subscribe to the channel, Coaching Football with Brian Klee, by clicking down below. And if you have any further follow-up questions, email me at coachbrianklee@gmail.com.